Hey there, this is Matt with State of Flex here with a review for Green Lantern, continuing my journey through the DC lineup of films, and this one is kind of a doozy. It is... maybe it would have been passable in like 1992 to do the movie this way. Obviously the special effects wouldn't have been as effective, though they're not particularly strong special effects to begin with in this very heavily effects-driven film, so it kind of looked not unlike the quality of special effects you would have gotten in the 90s era. That being said, in a post-Sam Raimi Spider-Man world, or certainly a post-Dark Knight world, there is no place for a movie like this, done this way, with this sensibility. It's just not acceptable. Ryan Reynolds is a good actor, but I don't think he's the right guy to play Hal Jordan. Certainly not the way he is played, where he's kind of sly and like almost winking to the camera as he wanted so desperately to be Deadpool. And reclaim that character. He's fitting for that character. He does not work for this incarnation of Hal Jordan. The movie is just kind of a clunker from front to back. And speaking of the front, it opens with like an incredibly forgettable setup scenario of how the Lantern comes into our sector. You then go into this like soft Top Gun sequence, and in a post Top Gun world, and I'm talking about Top Gun, not Top Gun Maverick. It looks so heavily effects heavy that they don't even sell like the hotshot nature of this fighter pilot. It's just, none of it is convincing and believable. The action in this film is pretty dreadful across the board and really not terribly inventive. Like, you get the standard giant fist of Green Lantern that you see often in the Green Lantern comics and stuff like that, but there doesn't seem to be much like imagination or whimsy that you get with the different action beats that Green Lantern's capable of doing. I imagine it's because it's very expensive to render a giant green thing doing whatever it is doing. But in just like 15-20 minutes of screen time in Superman that James Gunn just did, we got several different like inventive uses of the Lantern power that seem to like render this just like drab by comparison in a 2-hour runtime. Now, one of the positives this film has is that Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively do have quite a bit of chemistry. That's not surprising, as they are coupled in real life. But their characters are both flat and boring. Like, Hal Jordan's a little too winky for my taste. He should be a little more straight, played straight than Ryan Reynolds was giving him, and I know that that was probably a studio note to be more Marvel-y, but it just doesn't really seem to work. The villains in this film are hella boring, like completely boring, which is shocking because Peter Sarsgaard is such a good actor and he cannot sell this at all, and this might go down as his worst performance. And all of this stuff, I had to ask myself who the director of this film is, because the action is bad, the performances pulled are not compelling or bad. Visually, there's nothing interesting or distinct going on that isn't rendered in a computer. It just, I was like, this is probably a first-time hire. I shouldn't be too harsh. No, this is a veteran filmmaker who made films such as like GoldenEye, The Mask of Zorro, Casino Royale, which I think is the best James Bond movie, full stop. He is a person who has had quite a bit of hands-on work with the action genre that has made very charismatic, both with like a slight allure and charm, as you got with Pierce Brosnan's James Bond, or the more heavy, straight-laced, and played completely for straight Daniel Craig James Bond. And a nice mix of the two kind of personality traits with The Mask of Zorro in the two different Zorros within that film. I couldn't believe it. None of the humor lands in this movie, and The Mask of Zorro has some great humor. I could not believe that this filmmaker is the same guy. Yeah, Green Lantern isn't it isn't good. As I say, it may have been passable for a bygone era. If this had come out at the end of the 80s and the early 90s, it might have gotten a soft pass, but as is, this movie just doesn't work. And now, certainly in a post like Top Gun Maverick world, which is a movie that I'm not even terribly a big fan of, the opening doesn't play, the action is flat, and in a post-Superman 2025 world, we have a better Green Lantern who's the a-hole Green Lantern in that story, who is a little more winky and fun and played to be an a-hole. There is no place for this movie anymore. It has outlived its relevancy, and it was never relevant when it even came out. And it's a shame. There's a lot of talented people here, both in front of and, as it turns out, behind the camera. But it's just a misfire. The next comic book movie I will be watching is the Dark Knight Rises, and that I am interested to see how it plays on my revisit, because from memory that's a movie that I think I can complain about for the rest of my life, while also enjoying it too. We'll see how it lands for me. I have hardened towards Christopher Nolan's filmography quite a bit, so I'm curious to see how this one plays for me. Thanks for watching, like, subscribe, do all that good stuff. Peace.